Hi, welcome to the garden, and I'm kind of springing this one on you. I didn't put a notice out I was doing it because the reason I am doing it is Sunday at 10:32 Central Daylight Time, which is where I live. It will be the winter solstice, summer solstice, and that's the marks the longest day of the year. And I want to do a reading on it, but I'm going to be out of town this weekend, and this is sort of my last shot at getting something up because I couldn't record something and leave it with tech support because tech support's going out of town with me to go to my grandchildren's birthday and other fun things we're going to be working on. So, let's see if I can get this all out where you can see it. Okay. So I thought I'd roll some on the summer solstice. I also thought I'd talk a little bit about summer solstice because I do things like that. And when I was looking around this morning on the Forbes site, I found a thing called Jamie Carter's Europe, and he was talking about a link that you could go to find watch the summer solstice start in England on that date, and that would be at 10:32 Central Daylight Time, 11:32 Eastern Time, and then the roll across the country. The thing about the summer solstice is it doesn't have a specific date. It always happens between the 20th and the 22nd of June. But because of how we go around the sun, it makes a difference each year. Solstices, we are going into June. It's the longest day of the year. In the one we have in December, which is the one that always happens right around Christmas, which is part of why Christmas is here at that date, is the shortest day of the year. And then in between the two of those, in September around the 20th, we have the autumnal equinox, and in March we have this vernal equinox or spring equinox. And those 2 days, the sun and the day and the night are equal. That's why it's called equinox, equal night. Okay? And then I was looking at just kind of scattering through. One of the things it suggests if you want to have a little celebration beyond, hi Barb, beyond, Barbara, I'm sorry, beyond, if you want to have a celebration beyond just woohoo, it's this day, there's going to be some events. I'm going virtually to one with Lee Harris at noon on Monday. If you go to his site, leeharris.com, you can find a way to get a link to go to that, and it's free, and they're going to be talking about this shift in energy. But if you don't want to get online and you want to sit through another virtual meeting, which I can't blame any of you for, the other thing you can do is get yourself a big bowl of strawberries, because if you remember when I did the why all the moons have different names, the name of the June moon was Strawberry Moon, and one of the things a lot of people who want to do something to acknowledge this shift of time, they will have strawberries. Big bowl of strawberries and cream and all the good stuff. Other things that happen around, people say to me, well, isn't the solstice midsummer? No, midsummer is a different day, and it's calculated a different way. It's calculated by an old medieval growing pattern, and it is always the 23rd of, Midsummer's Eve is always the 23rd of June, which is also St. John's Eve. And one of the traditions that used to happen in the Middle Ages people did a lot of weird stuff, but I guess they were so used to dark and night and it didn't bother them. But they'd go out, they'd build a big bonfire, which if I was out in the dark, I'd want to build. And they would spend the night in the glow of the fire, and I'm sure that's what everybody told their parents. We're in the glow of the fire. And then they had an extra little twist. They'd say they were looking for the magical fern flowers, which only show up. Hi, some other people are joining me. I'm like really excited. I came on expecting to have no company and just record this and be shown later. But when they go looking for the mystical fern flower, they go looking for it because if you can find one, it's sort of like the four-leaf clover thing. It brings you great luck if you can find one. It's something that people who like elementals, fairies, ferns, plants, that sort of stuff, that's a part of their myths, legends, stories. And it brings good luck. And then they would, now, okay, so they go out and they look for these flowers that are supposed to show up in the middle of the night. This is a story they went home to their parents with. And then they'd wash their face in the morning dew, and that was another thing to bring them good luck. Well, I hate to tell them, baby, good luck if you lived in Texas trying to find morning dew. Not a whole lot of it on the ground this time of year. So, what other things do we know about, my mom she grew up on a farm in Canada, and she used to say, it's going to be a bad winter. Too many nuts on the ground. And she was always right. She also used to say when the tree bark got thicker, that was going to be a more harsh winter. But I found some other little phrases that have to do with weather that I thought were kind of cute. So it says, deep snow in the winter, tall grain in the summer. And I grew up in the Midwest, and it used to be knee-high. If the corn was knee-high by the 4th of July, we were going to have a great crop. I didn't grow corn. I just watched it grow. Lots of corn I watched grow. Okay, when the summer birds take their flight, the summer goes with them. Well, that would make sense, because why else would you call them summer birds? But we'll go on. If it rains on Midsummer's Eve, the filbert crops will be spoiled. I don't know what a filbert is. I think it's some kind of nut. That one wasn't terribly meaningful. And it says, a swallow was never made in the summer, meaning swallows will never lay their eggs in the summer. And that's true. Animals have their own cycles, and it's probably very true. And now y'all can look at what's been happening around your weather. Easterly winds from May 19th to the 21st indicate a dry summer. We've had a very wet spring, and our winds have not been from the east. So I don't know what's going to happen to us that way. And if there are many falling stars during a clear summer evening, expect thunder. If there are none, expect fine weather. I don't get that one either, because I don't see how the falling stars could bring in thunder. But those are things the old folks in the old days saw. So now what I'm going to do is, for those who haven't seen this before, this is a garden, and this is where I roll stones. And the situation I've asked about is from June 21st to the 20th of September, which will be the autumnal equinox. It'll be the autumnal equinox. What's going to be going on just in general, and it's not just necessarily weather, it just can be, we'll see where the stones land and figure it out. Situation around them. Okay. Oh, clarity is going to come at that time in our future. This season, and I think this started with the solar eclipse that we had on the 10th. I keep getting, and when I talk about seasonal patterns, the spirit says go for it. This is the time to be birthed out of the tomb, the kind of tube the cavern we've been wandering through that was COVID, and come out. Our mental energies are going to be surrounded by emotions. Our values are going to come out of the fire, the things that we learned, we're going to repeat old patterns we learned earlier, and that may be to have a chance to look at them and decide if they're valid. If they're valid old patterns, keep going. If they work, go with them. If they don't work, or they hold you back, or they stop you, they can be abandoned. The other thing that showed up was the body. This is body, mind, and spirit, and this is values, and this is clarity for the future. So our body literally landed between earth, meaning it's very grounded, and fire, meaning past life things or things in this life, things that we've brought in from our family. And I'd say that they're really nice where the stones fell, especially that our minds are going to be coming in harmony with our emotions. And I think that's really good, that our minds don't super rule how we feel about things. And it all shows, you can read time on this thing, and this is winter, spring, summer. These stones are falling in the summer. A lot of the things that our spirit creates this summer will become true this fall. And this stone means clarity. It means when we get inspiration, and it fell in the word future, which means things, the emotions, the things we're feeling now, the way our mind is processing the emotions and coming together with your spirit, which says follow your spirit, follow your instincts, follow what those tell you. That's going to bring you great clarity in the fall. All that, even if you think, I wonder what that means, it'll come clear by fall. But summer is going to be great because you've got spirit and mind, you've got your values sort of tripping in here. But I think some of us, and this could be what people I think call COVID-15, the 15 pounds everybody seems to have run around and found during COVID, that's making some people feel kind of trapped a little bit. But when things appear in the earth, in the element of earth, it means that it's moving towards passing. It's in a position of change. It's really close to the crux where the change would be. So this stone being right here and being between what we know and where we have been means we're moving towards a new transitional phase. So I think for all of us, it means we're going to be feeling better about things. We're going to be going out and doing more. We're going to be feeling better. I'm going to try to clarify what's going on with our body. I'm going to leave it where it is. And what's going on with our physical selves? Because I think we've been so focused on not getting something. What can we let in that's positive for our physical self? Oh, cool. Okay. It means that the values from the past, the spiritual things from the past, we're going to let those go. We're not going to be chained to this anymore. This is great. Our mind is moving forward with all this. And clarity, once again, says tied to your emotions. If you feel something, go for it. Because our feelings are going to really have a lot to do with how we move forward and where we go. And somebody commented on my dragonfly. And the dragonfly is a spirit animal of my work. And it says all over the world, the dragonfly symbolizes change, transformation, and adaptability, and self-realization. The change is often referred to as it has its source in mental and emotional maturity and an understanding of the deeper parts of life. And if you understand the life cycle of a dragonfly, it starts out as an egg in water, which when you deal with the elementals, it means in emotion. It flutters up into air, which is thought. It's incredibly maneuverable and incredibly iridescent and translucent. There's a medieval myth about dragonflies that they could hover and move around like they could because they carried angels on their backs, and the angels would move them around. Oh, someone says filbert's like a hazelnut. Okay. They would move around. So what this is telling me that as we get our bodies more aligned and we get used to the fact that our bodies don't need to live in the kind of fear it's been living in, that we can move forward, we can get rid of some of the spiritual energy that's been locked in the past. I think a lot of people have sensed this spring because it's fallen in the spring quadrant, and the clear thinking and the mental and the new awakenings where our spirit and our mind get better joined is going to be coming in the fall. So I think that all looks really good. So trying to think of the other things that I read today because I was just flashing through solstices and equinoxes. One of the things it said is people often say, why doesn't the somebody also has seen the same myth about dragonflies. Somebody said, if it's the longest day of the year, why isn't it the hottest day of the year? Well, it takes a while for the atmosphere to heat up, and so the hottest days are yet to come if the sun stays out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull a card. I told you this was going to be kind of short. Unless somebody has a real question, I'm just going to pull a card to close the garden out and we got the Lenten rose. You see those? Those are those little roses that don't have lots and lots and lots of petals. They kind of look like a single flower. And the Lenten rose is protection. Conserve what you have and save a little. So it's saying be conservative with your energy, being conservative with your judgments, being conservative with yourself. Don't push yourself. Enjoy this time. We are really I keep sensing we're in a real shift. And I keep sensing that the world's moving in a really positive direction. Does anybody who's out there have a question? Thank you for telling me that a filbert's a hazelnut. And yeah, dragonflies. There was a period of time when insects ruled the world. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there were like centipedes that were like 8 feet long. I mean, it's really a scary period. I mean, I'm certainly not a place I would have wanted to be in, but it was because the oxygen, there were so many plants and so much oxygen, the animals grew huge, and there were dragonflies that had a three-foot wingspan. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing a dragonfly with a 3-foot wingspan. I wouldn't take it on. Okay? No questions? I'm going to close the garden out with a blessing to each and every one of you who's shown up to see this today. Like I said, you can go. I said his name, and I will try to put it in my community notes. It's called Jamie Carter's Europe. It was an article that was in Forbes a couple days ago. It's about there's live cameras at Stonehenge, or you can probably just Google that and find it. But during the equinox, you can actually see it as it rises in Stonehenge. And I'm sure it'll be replayed over and over again if you want to see it. I thought that was kind of fun. I've been to Stonehenge. It's really fascinating. So, that's it for us today. And I'm going to go off and see my grandchildren's birthday, visit with my family down there, and take the weekend off. So I'll see you all on Monday when we will be in another